Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Update Show. And I know that we've done the Stock Market Update on Friday already. So today we're going to be looking at the weekly time frame, and to give us more clues on potentially if the stock market, QQQ and Sp500 and all these 7 mega cap tech stocks are potentially shaping up a reversal pattern where this could potentially mark the temporary top in the next couple of months before we um, head into the end of the year with a stronger move. Usually from July and end of July to August towards the September range is a weaker seasonality in the stock market. So that potentially we may get a dip opportunity to buy up those dips before we rally into the end of the year, depending on, obviously, of course, if we have a recession or not. But as of now, we don't have those datas. So we'll be looking at what the price action is telling us, because the economy and the stock market is not correlated as often as you would think, because the market is usually leading. So hence we have this rally despite us having bearish news for the entire year in the macro, while the market is heading to 52 weeks high every week. And QQQ right now has started to set a shooting star candle where it's a potential reversal candle. Obviously, if we have a candle like this, doesn't mean the market is just going to crash into back to 361 or whatever it is. But there's a sign where that we may increase the probability of it going lower because it closed at the low of the week, right? And we take a look at a little bit at RSI. We don't usually just use RSI because when it's like overbought, you're not going to just short because it's overbought, right? If you shorted just when we just hit overbought, you'd have shorted right there. See, when we first hit overbought on the weekly time frame, you would have shorted right there, and you would have been down already over 10%. So the thing how we use RSI is that we want to take a look at historically how QQQ performs when we are at RSI overbought. So we take a look at this level. You can see QQQ around here. It overbought for about a month, and when we had a little bit of pullback to cool things off, and head higher, and we had overbought here again. So it doesn't stay in overbought for that long, is what we're getting here. You can see back here as well. On the weekly time frame, QQ does not stay overbought that long, other than for that big drop that we had on this rally over here. It was also close to, let's see, December 16th to February. So that's 2 months from this this huge rally here. Obviously, we had a huge crash there. We all know why, and we don't need to talk more about that part. But so the thing is that we don't stay overbought for that long. We have been overbought from May 22nd to roughly July 17th. So that's close to 2 months already. So we got to be cautious of that, because usually QQ does not stay overbought more than 2 months, based on historically. Doesn't mean we have to pull back a lot. You can see back here as well. We only had to pull back this little bit for the next 2 weeks, and that was, let's see how much percent. See, from here to here, it's roughly 2 months, and we had a little bit pullback to get out of that overbought. And this little 3-week drop was 7%, right? We don't need to drop that much, but 7% is quite notable already, depending on what kind of a trader you are. Same thing over here, another 2 months, and you just had to have a little bit of a pullback, and that is already another 5%. So that's pretty much what we're looking for as a trader. We're not going to be predicting that the market is just going to crash overall, or predict a crash just based on your trade on some thing that you have no control over, right? So as a technical trader, we can say, okay, 5% is pretty reasonable. We come down to 357, and potentially the EMA 12 for the 12 will catch up as well. And for the indicators to also cool off, we may get a little weekly drop to just maybe 60 RSI, bounce up again to the end of the year, and get back to overbought again, just like how these usually work, right? So even in a strong bull market, we have to have pullbacks, and it's very reasonable for market to pull back 5%, especially on QQQ. So that's what we'll be looking for. I want to see if weekly, we close at low of the week. So if we get a red day on Monday, just even a tiny bit weekly consolidation is on its way, meaning the next weekly candle is below the prior weekly candle, just like we had one right here on June 26th. So that's a weekly consolidation and then a continuation of the weekly uptrend. So when we get that, we'll have a weekly consolidation again, and we'll see if the bears can shape up a weekly downtrend or not, because they have enough room now where they can, the next bounce, right? Let's say we have another drop next week. On the next bounce, they have room now to shape up the lower high for that weekly trend change. If that changes, we get a weekly trend change, that would take at least 2 to 3 weeks, right? We can't have one candle down here and change the weekly trend, because you need at least 3. We'll need at least 2 to 3 weeks. Happens, then we zoom out to the monthly, and we have not had a monthly consolidation since the bottom. So weekly shapes it up a downtrend. We will potentially be, this could potentially shape up a monthly equilibrium tightening range. Of course, when we don't know, we're not going to say we're going to have tighten all the way down here, and just chop around and tighten up like that. But when we have a big drop and a big bounce with no monthly trend change on the upside yet, we do have one down here. Let's see. This was a monthly trend change right here. But after that, we haven't had another monthly consolidation yet since March. So it's likely due. So if that we get the weekly trend change, we can likely pull back a little bit and for a mean reversion, and then we'll see where it wants to go after that, right? We're not going to expect it to come down here. It's more reasonable if we come into the mean versus trying to predict it's going to drop all the way down here or whatever, or crash. None of that, right? If it happens, we'll see it coming. We're not going to be blind to a crash when the crash comes, right? We'll see all major sectors, SPY, Sp500, QQQ, the semiconductor sector, the IWM, Dow Jones, XLV, the healthcare, the financial. You'll see all the sectors dropping together at the same time to its low of its day together with increasing bear volumes. So we haven't seen that in months. So now we just have to be aware. So if that happens, we can potentially start shorting. But as of now, no signs of that yet. Even in the last 2 days, we did not see all major sectors dropping. We had Dow hitting new highs, and while QQQ is dropping, that's just money rotation in the market, meaning there is no fear in the market at the moment still. And maybe we'll start shaping up some fear if we get that Google earnings report next week. We have Google, Microsoft on Tuesday, as well as a lot as well. So you can see implied volatility, meaning Snapchat is expected to move plus or minus 11% on its earnings report. So if you guys are, wants to risk those trades and likes playing risky plays, Snapchat is definitely your guy. And you may have a big win or a big lose. But Google and Microsoft implied volatility is 6%. That's huge for a mega cap tech stock. So definitely we'll see some huge swings in QQQ on Tuesday. And if we get decent earnings, like let's say we get a slight beat on Google and Microsoft, and you see like a 3% pullback on a red day, and just like Tesla and Netflix did, then we are potentially probably marking a temporary top at the very least in the next month or so, in the shorter term time frame. And so we'll see if that happens. Meta is 10% plus or minus, which is also huge for mega cap tech stock. So these are the ones that I'll be watching into next week. As well as we have FOMC meeting on Wednesday. So we know it's a 25 basis point hierarchy. It's priced at 99%. So no surprises there. The only surprise we'll see is when Jerome is talking about when he's doing his Q&A. So we'll see if he's going to be pretty firm on another hike after that or not, and see how the market's going to price that in. So let's see here. Right, S&P 500 on the weekly is looking better because of other sectors rotating into it. Like the healthcare was really strong, and the utility is a defensive sector was also really strong. That may be a red flag for QQQ bulls as well, because we don't want to see defensive up too much as a bull. No signs of red flags yet on SPY. And because of how strong it's been rotating. So the weekly still looks good, even though it's a little, it's a little wick there. You can say this exact same thing when we had it one here. We had a red day the week after, but following week, we'll spot it all up. So we can have a red one here, and then just form a weekly bull flag, keep continuing, right? So as long as we don't see any red flag shape up on SPY, it is still okay. But we did hit some pretty critical resistance here. So we'll be cautious going into next week for sure. We don't want to be blind to take a look at. So NASDAQ future just opened. So it looks like we had a small gap up, 0.12%, but not that big of a deal. We still have futures trade all the way till when pre-market opens. So it changes a lot. So we'll see how it goes. But let's take a look at Nvidia. Nvidia and Tesla are the weekly candles that are starting to ship a little bit more of a red flag for me. It's the size of the drop, 8%. As long as it holds above this prior pivot, it's still in a weekly uptrend and a daily uptrend. So no big deal yet. But you can see this, we have rejected twice the same area. I can see double wicks here. A little bit more notable than this one. When we had this one, we had a drop, but then bulls bought the dip. So we'll see when we drop next week. Will bulls buy the dip again like we had over here? Not, then we're going to shape up a weekly downtrend. So that would potentially mark the top as well. RSI is out the window. We don't even look at RSI for Nvidia, especially when it's had news catalysts. We don't want to be using it when it's not in our favor, because overbought doesn't mean anything when there's news in the market. Same thing, Tesla, and we'll see if Tesla starts shaping up more of a weekly downtrend. This drop is already big enough for it to shape up a weekly downtrend. If on the next bounce, bulls don't bounce big enough, then they're really likely potential more downside. Apple, no red flags. Weekly time frame is a bull flag or lacking follow through, right? And now I want to see, is it really lacking follow through, or just that week people are taking profit and the next week people are going to buy back up again, right? So far as bull flag, lack follow through, the most likely scenario is going to go to the other side, and we'll see if bears are serious about that or not. Today EMA 12 is going to still be my guide. So as long as it doesn't break 2-day EMA 12, it's full bull control. Let's take a look at Amazon Weekly as well. Amazon Weekly is looking pretty bad as well, like Tesla's. It's a close bull break, lacking follow through as well. We are almost back. It gave back pretty much all of last week's gains. So we'll see if Amazon bulls can hold that this strong support right here. If not, it's also going to shape up a weekly downtrend if the bounce is weak. Google, pretty much the weakest. Got like a bearish engulfing candle, pretty much almost engulfed the whole last week candle as well. A little bit similar to Amazon. So size of this bounce should have favored the bulls for the next move up, and bulls didn't, and bears took over the following week. So now the size of this drop is going to favor the bears on the next bounce. We'll see who's going to win who. You can see also increasing bear volume here as well, compared to last week when it was green week. A lot of mega cap starting to shape up bearish engulfing candles. Microsoft is the most prime example. AI news gave it all back. It's going to go to the weekly. See more clearly. So pretty much AI news, you can see this huge wick, gave it all back and went red. So that is a potential sign of a blow off top. So if every mega cap starts shaping up like Microsoft, then that's pretty clear that QQ is going to mark a temporary top for us, at the least in the very probably the next couple months, or 1 month or two before we rally into the end of the year, if it's a soft landing. So now we don't want to be guessing, but we want to be following the charts, and this is the week that we're going to be going into a lot more cautious as a bull for sure. because we even had a sentiment read of 51.4% on the AI sentiment. If you want to check out the data, go take a look on my Friday video on the stock market and the economic data. And Meta, also another weekly engulfing candle, right? Last week's whole move pretty much got engulfed the entire move as well. So you can see you can see why it's significant, why I'm doing the weekly chart this week, because we just look at this entire move. Do we see a weekly engulfing candle at all for all the mega cap tech stocks? No, we haven't, right? This is not a weekly engulfing candle. Barely you chased 30% of that whole move. This is nothing. This is absolutely nothing. Nothing either, right? This is the first time we see some notable selling into a weekly engulfing candle, engulfing the prior week candle. So that's why we got to be cautious going into next week and August as well, right? We look at back at these more bearish drops. This would have been a monthly engulfing candle, right? This whole move was engulfed by this whole bearish move if we zoom into the monthly. Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. 4 weeks in 1 month. And that was when the bear market was going on here. So we'll see if it marks a temporary top for all of the current mega cap tech stocks. And yeah, make sure to not be buying. All of this week, I've been saying to not add when we're up here because of how much we have ran up. We want to be buying back on the pullbacks, right? On these pivots when we pull back and bounce. Now, be cautious as a bull going to next week, but the trend is still daily on a daily uptrend as long as the pivots don't break. And I wouldn't be taking any huge bets, especially with options, if especially Microsoft and Google's gonna be reporting earnings, and Meta as well. Though it will be, they will set the trend if we get a bearish reaction or a bullish reaction. If we get a bullish reaction, we might just retest the 53 high. And if we get a bearish one, we might get a huge drop due to how much we have been going up. You get a mean reversion. All right, that's all I got for you guys on the weekly time frame. And if you guys want to check out the daily time frame, all the support and resistance, check out the Friday video and the economic data there as well. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the market update, where I do the the daily market update on all these mega cap tech stocks in Sp500. Let's take a look here. Give it back a little bit for NASDAQ, but no big deal. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow.